Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Spokane Transit CEO, E. Susan Meyer.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Boone Northwest Garage. Thank you all very much for making time to be a part of today's milestone announcement about the Spokane Transit Central City Line, the first bus rapid transit line in Spokane, running about 6 miles from Browns Addition to Spokane Community College by way of downtown, the University District, and Gonzaga University. We welcome you here to the garage, completed in 2019. Is this the first time you've ever been to an event in a transit bus garage? If you have, raise your hand. 68,000 square foot facility that will house our additional buses and paratransit vans, acquired as part of STA's 10-year expansion plan called STA Moving Forward, approved by voters in 2016. This garage was constructed with the infrastructure necessary to power STA's first 10 60-foot battery electric buses. And knowing this facility is the future home of the Central City Line vehicles, it seems a fitting location for today's celebration. Before we get to that announcement and our distinguished guests, I'd first like to recognize the elected and appointed officials who have joined us today. And I'm going to ask you to do that hard thing and keep from clapping until after everyone has been introduced. You agree? I'm going to take that as a yes. U.S. Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rodgers. U.S. Senators Patty Murray and Maria Cantwell were not able to be with us today, but representing their offices respectively is John Colton, Eastern Washington Director, and Alex Scott, Eastern Washington Outreach Director. Washington State Transportation Secretary, Roger Millar. The STA Board of Directors, Spokane County Commissioner and Chairman for the 5th time of the STA Board of Directors, Al French. Spokane City Council member and STA's immediate past chair, Candace Mumm. County Commissioner, Josh Kearns. Cheney Mayor Chris Grover could not join us today. Spokane City Council member, Lori Kinnear. Spokane City Council member, Kate Burke. And Spokane City Council member, Karen Stratton. Millwood Mayor, Kevin Freeman. Spokane Valley Council member and past chair, Pam Haley, and Kevin is a past chair as well. Spokane Valley Council member, Tim Hattenberg. Liberty Lake Council member, Mike Kennedy. Airway Heights Council member, Veronica Messing. And Rhonda Bowers, representing the labor unions. And past mayor, 5-term mayor of the city of Cheney, and former chair of STA, Tom Truelove. Please say thank you to all of our guests. As you entered the building today, some of you may have noticed a subtle difference in the project name and how it's displayed in the program and on the video wall. Did some of you catch that? Yes. For just about a decade, we have referred to this project as the Central City Line, a name that geographically represented the chosen alignment, as well as the urban nature of the areas to be served. Now, this is not the big announcement, but we're happy to tell you and reveal for the first time this simplified name and word mark, which is representative of all the ways we're looking to make transit simpler and easy to use for everyone. We'll be rolling out our new City Line brand elements over the coming months, so stay tuned for that. When we talk about this project, we have often referred to the concept 20 years ago in the late 90s when the downtown plan called for an urban circulator. During that time, many communities were investing in multimodal projects like streetcars in an effort to improve transportation and economic development simultaneously. At one point in the mid-2000s, some in the Spokane community too were contemplating a downtown rail project. But as more stakeholders, including Spokane Transit, became more active in the project's concept development, we began to hone in on a solution better suited to our region. Rather than aiming for the highest cost alternative, community leaders here in Spokane more strategically targeted how to provide the circulator experience at a more reasonable cost. The features that make light rail and streetcar attractive to a broader rider demographic are their distinct look and feel, the permanence of the infrastructure, and a higher level of service. Trips so frequent, you don't need a schedule. Thank you. You can just go to the station and know that the next bus is coming. Through an open dialogue and community prioritization, Spokane determined that a bus rapid transit, or BRT route, rose to the top of the best suited mode for Spokane that could achieve the desired experience, the distinctive look, and great service, all of which are embodied in the City Line. The near-level boarding at stations, shelters, and real-time traveler information along the route provide the amenities that current riders will enjoy right away, while providing a sense of permanence that attracts long-term economic development. And with real-time information and super frequent service, trips every 7.5 minutes during peak, commuters, students, and visitors within walking distance can simply make their way to the stations, knowing that their wait times will be short. Throughout the project's history, Spokane has done well what Spokane does best, working through big ideas and finding the right fit for our community. Through collaboration, compromise, and creative thinking, a transformational and cost-effective concept emerged, and we've been refining it since. We always knew funding the project was the obvious big hurdle. Thankfully, work began very early on to build local support, as well as with the state legislature for the local match requirement, the most essential piece of funding, a Small Starts grant from the Federal Transit Administration. I can tell you now from experience in the last 5 years that FTA sets a high bar for projects they are considering funding. Their process is demanding, as it should be, and it has prepared the project and us at STA for a project this size. We've secured just over 40% of the project's estimated cost, and we have finalized our application to FTA for the remaining $53.4 million. And so, where's the drum? And so, here to present today's exciting milestone announcement is our nation's top transit official, Ms. Kay Jane Williams. Ms. Williams brings over 20 years of executive experience to her role, having served previously at the Department of Energy and the Department of Labor under President Reagan and the Department of the Interior under President George H.W. Bush. Ms. Williams is responsible for managing an annual budget of over $13 billion that assists over 3,000 transit agencies and providers in all the U.S. states and territories. The FTA provides financial and technical assistance to local public transit systems, including buses, subways, light rail, commuter rail, trolleys, and ferries. And the most important part of Ms. Williams' biography is that she has been an unrelenting champion for the Central City Line. Please welcome Kay Jane Williams.
Good morning, and thank you, Susan, for that introduction. And thank you, Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers, Spokane County Commissioner Al French, Spokane Council Member Candace Mumm for joining us. And I would also like to acknowledge Transportation Secretary Roger Millar of the Washington State DOT, who is also here with us today. This bus rapid transit project, the first in the region, has been a great example of a successful local, state, and federal partnership. I'm particularly grateful to have Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rodgers join us to mark this special occasion today. You know, we've interacted in the other Washington quite a few times at DOT, and also before I was at DOT when I worked on the Hill, and I appreciate her work to advance innovation and mobility and transportation within her community here in the district, but also her leadership in Washington, D.C. It's so great to share this moment with City Council member Candace Mumm, County Council Commissioner Al French, and of course our partners at Spokane Transit Authority, led by the incomparable CEO, Susan Meyer. You could not ask for a better advocate in transit than Susan. And let me tell you, she's doing a great job leading transit in Spokane. In addition, we also have a former FTA acting administrator, Sherry Little, and a former chief counsel, Sev Miller, here with us today. And they have provided me personally, and apparently Spokane Transit, with valuable counsel. So I wanted to acknowledge their being with us today and thank them for their continued work in bringing transit across America and bringing it to fruition. Thank you for all you've done to bring this project to this day. And finally, let me acknowledge my FTA Region 10 Administrator, Linda Gerke, who's with us. She and her team do excellent work here managing the federal government's investments, not only in Spokane, but in the entire Pacific Northwest. Thank you for joining us. You know, I'm very happy to be here today on behalf of Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao and the U.S. Department of Transportation to announce a $53.4 million grant to the Spokane Transit Authority for the, I guess it's now the City Line, instead of the Central City Line, Bus Rapid Transit Project. You know, at FTA, we are very pleased to partner with the Spokane Transit Authority and the state of Washington to improve public transportation in Spokane. This project will have such a large impact on the lives of residents along this line, from Brown's Addition to Spokane Community College, as well as improve access and mobility downtown for those living in and visiting the region. Infrastructure investment, you know, is one of Secretary Chao's major priorities, and this project is the latest example of the Trump administration's investment in transit infrastructure. Since 2017, this administration has advanced 25 projects for new capital investment in infrastructure for transit throughout the nation, totaling more than $7.6 billion in funding. And this transit line, which will run for 6 miles and include 20 stations, will offer a vast improvement over conventional bus service. This new service will provide more frequency and be a beneficiary of transit signal priority and other roadway changes that prioritize bus movement. Stations will be equipped with real-time arrival information and offer level boarding, helping people with disabilities, seniors, and others to safely board. The line will provide more efficient service by improving access to jobs, healthcare, and especially educational opportunities. Buses will travel through the University District, east of downtown with access to Gonzaga, University, Eastern Washington University, and Washington State University, Spokane, offering students, teachers, and workers a new, faster way to commute. And during the planning phase, recognizing the importance of Spokane Community College to the city, Spokane Transit extended the line to serve that institution as well. I know some of the university leaders are also here with us today, and it's clear that education is one of the drivers of the city's success. Thank you for your partnership and for joining us today. The line also creates a cultural trail. It stations at Coeur d'Alene. I know I didn't pronounce that right. Coeur d'Alene, I have to get there. I want to get there while I'm here. Park Museum of Arts and Culture and a historic Brown's Addition and the Convention Center, will make it a must-use system for residents and tourists alike. These new battery electric powered buses will replace diesel hybrid buses that exceeded their useful life, which will reduce operating costs and improve reliability and support a growing ridership. Here in Spokane, the new BRT line will not only provide faster, safer service, but Spokane Transit estimates it will also generate $175 million in economic impact within the community over the next 20 years. FTA is proud to partner with Spokane Transit on their first bus rapid transit line, helping meet the needs of their riders by providing safe, reliable service to the thousands of residents that use public transportation every day. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Jane. Acting Administrator Williams, so much for being with us today and bringing this big check. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now someone special to introduce next. Kathy McMorris Rogers is a member of the U.S. House of Representatives serving the people of Eastern Washington since 2004. She served as the chair of the House Republican Conference from 2012 to 2018 and has served on the Powerful Energy and Commerce Committee since 2010. She is currently the Republican leader on the Energy and Commerce Subcommittee on Consumer Protection and Commerce. In the past few years, Kathy has led the Trump administration to secure more than $170 million in infrastructure investments in Eastern Washington. Please help me welcome our friend, Congressman Kathy McMorris Rogers.
Hello, everyone. It's great to see you. Spokane Transit Authority knows how to host a great party, I think so. Lots of fun and festive activities here. And to the community, to the city of Spokane, to everyone who's here, everyone who works for Spokane Transit, I think this is an amazing example of imagining what's possible and then working hard to make it happen. And today we get to celebrate a lot of hard work that was a part of making this happen. It's exciting to see the progress that is being made on our first bus rapid transit route in Eastern Washington. And as others have mentioned, it's going to connect our neighborhoods, give people more transportation options, and also support a cleaner environment. It's especially important to our students to connect the colleges and the universities and to our downtown. So to everyone who's been a part of making this happen, I want to say congratulations. I'd like to acknowledge and celebrate the leadership of Susan Myers, extraordinary leadership. And she talked about finding the right fit for our community. That's why you got the community support. That's why the funding passed in 2016. So thank you, Susan, for your extraordinary leadership. I'd like to acknowledge the team of Spokane Transit Authority, the current and former STA board members, chairs, Al French, your 5th term now. He's been in my office many times talking about this project and others. Candace Mum, for your leadership for so many years. To all of our state and local partners, thank you. It's great to have the Secretary of Transportation with us today. The Spokane Central City line is proof that when we work together on local priorities, good things happen. I would also like to specifically thank the Acting Administrator, Kay Jane Williams, for being here, making the trip from Washington, D.C. She said she got stuck in Seattle trying to get through the airport, but she also has family in Moscow, Idaho, so she knows how to pronounce these names around here. But thank you, Jane. Thank you to Secretary Elaine Chao and the Trump administration for making this a priority, making Eastern Washington a priority. In April, we were excited to see the $53 million allocation from FTA's Small Starts grant program, which has funded the Spokane Central line, and now $10 new low-emission electric buses. Today, I'm proud to be able to be a part of this award and helping bring the funding to Spokane. We are celebrating now over $170 million in infrastructure funding through the Trump administration, and I'm grateful that they're making Eastern Washington a priority. So let's keep this momentum going. Thank you again to the acting secretary. The best is yet to come.
Please welcome Spokane City Council Member Candace Mumm.
That was kind of cool. Well, as we know, STA isn't about buses. It's about the people who need them. The Central City Line, now the City Line, is going to bring opportunity to our citizens. Access to transit along this route will connect education and transportation like never before in our community. It will link our community colleges with our public and private universities and give workers a direct line to jobs in the downtown area. Transit opens doors and possibility. Transit brings opportunity. Back in the 1970s, opportunity was what a young North Spokane girl dreamed of. While her friends were interested in being an airline stewardess or maybe a fashion model, she was curious about working in the medical profession, maybe becoming a doctor someday. Deaconess Hospital had a Candy Striper program, which would allow people to volunteer in the hospital and gain experience with patients. She was only in middle school, and at age 13 was far too young to drive. But for only a quarter, she could put on her Candy Striper uniform and her white tennis shoes and jump on a bus to get to her volunteer job at the hospital. She gained valuable experience, went on to take AP Science and Chemistry, and graduated high school at the age of 16 and entered a pre-med program in college. Transit gave her that opportunity. Now the city of Spokane is giving more children access to transit and opportunity than ever before. Last summer, thousands of kids were given a free youth pass with their library card, and they went everywhere. And I mean everywhere. They went to the park, they went to grandma's house, they went to the library, they were shuttled to jobs if they were old enough, they even went to the lake to go swimming. The program was so successful that we're going to do it again in the city of Spokane. And we're going to enlist a whole new generation of STA riders for decades to come. There's a method to our madness. Oh, and by the way, that Candy Striper in the 1970s, well, she did not become a doctor. She instead became a city council member. That's right, you might have guessed that it was me. And never at the age of 13 did I ever think that I would become the chairwoman of STA. But as STA's chair for 2019, I had a front row seat to the hard work and the last-minute obstacles as this project made its way from the wishes of voters to the final phase of project development. At times it felt dramatic as we were sitting around a conference table in Washington, D.C., pitching the project to the FTA. But at no point did I ever lose confidence in our community's ability to find our path to this exciting day. Under the strong leadership of our CEO, Susan Meyer, the perseverance of her hardworking staff who are all here today, and the bold support of our elected representatives at the local, state, and federal levels, this project remained on track. And when we talk about those who have worked hard to keep the City Line project moving forward, there are a handful of important people hard at work now in Olympia who couldn't be with us today for this occasion. The state legislature did play a pivotal role in getting the project off the ground. The $15 million in Connecting Washington funds, combined with a $2.2 million regional mobility grant, the state of Washington has contributed a total of $17.2 million toward this visionary and transformational project. Representing the hard work accomplished at the state level, Representative Marcus Riccelli took a few moments to be with us virtually, and here he is via video.
Hi, I'm Representative Marcus Riccelli, and I wanted to take this moment to say congratulations to the Spokane Transit Authority and all the advocates here today celebrating the completion of this major milestone in the Central City Line. The Central City Line will transform transportation through our city with electric buses, 1 million rides a year, and improved technology to help improve access and equity in our transit system. A bus rapid transit route is exactly what we need to be building in Spokane, and I appreciate the $53.4 million in federal funds announced. A quality public transportation system helps get people where they need to go quickly and efficiently while reducing carbon emissions. I am proud of all the work we are doing to keep a great city moving. As always, it's an honor to be your state representative.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Spokane County Commissioner and Chairman of the STA Board of Directors, Al French.
What a great day for Spokane and Spokane Transit. It was kind of interesting. When I walked in, somebody came up to me and said, "So is it true that when you first joined the board, it was the vehicles were horse-drawn carriages?" No, it wasn't. It was shortly after that. This is my 18th year on the STA Board of Directors and my 5th term as the chair of the board, and I've got to tell you, this is one of the most exciting and energetic boards that I've ever had the privilege of serving on, and the members that have been on this board over the last 18 years have been incredible stewards of your taxpayer dollars and building a structure and an infrastructure and a transit system that I think this community can be very proud of. In the early years of my term, the board set the organization on a new path, committing to transparency, accountability, and customer service, to running as much like a business as a government can. We have a regional transit system that is completely debt-free and pays for its future improvements with strategic savings. STA works closely with stakeholders all over the region to create a system that this community identifies as necessary to connect workers to jobs, students to education, people to health care, and to serve as the economic development partner aligned with all of our respective jurisdictional goals. In a word, what I have observed at STA over my many years is transformational. To me, the City Line is an example of that same positive transformation. First, this project represents a new, efficient mode of high-performance transit and is right-sized for Spokane. Through hard work and fair compromise, we've worked side by side with neighborhoods, businesses, the universities and colleges, as well as our partners and public agencies to develop a project that meets the needs of this community. Second, it is a project that will not incur debt. We've strategically aligned resources from the local, state, and federal levels to make sure taxpayer resources are providing service rather than paying interest on debt. And third, it introduces a new level of service in the region's busiest job and education center that makes transit easier and more convenient for a broader audience than ever before. The City Line will be a game-changing for now in our region as we see new and modern public transportation modes added to this community. Our thanks today are countless. We have many partners that have brought us to today and made today possible. I want to start out by saying thank you to our CEO for her outstanding leadership over these many years to guide us on a path to bring us to today. Thank you, Susan Meyer. To the STA board members who have maintained the regional vision over multiple boards. Thank you to past board chairs, to past board members, to maintaining the commitment to this community to get us to today. To the state legislature, which has continually prioritized this important multimodal project for the region. To our federal delegation that has tracked this project closely and supported it since it entered the FTA's project development phase nearly 5 years ago. And I want to say a special thank you to Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers for your leadership in getting us to this point. Thank you. Another critical partner for us in this effort was Cardinal Consultants, and specifically Sherry Little and Seb Miller for their guidance, their advice, and their counsel. I'm not sure we would be here without you standing by our side, helping us get through this process. So thank you. And finally, a tremendous thank you to Acting Administrator Jane Williams, her dedicated staff at the Federal Transit Administration for guiding us through a rigorous due diligence process. That expertise and commitment to successful transit projects benefits all of us here in Washington and across the country. So thank you for being a great partner. In closing, I would just like to say, take the bus, leave the driving to us. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Susan Meyer.
Well, we are coming to a close. So grateful that you all are here. Today is truly a monumental day. And Al stole the words right out from my speech because I said this FTA Small Starts Grant Award is a game changer for Spokane. There are so many to thank for helping us get to this point, including this and previous STA boards, the City Line Steering Committee. I'm even going to have to get used to that. VistaCorp, the local electric and natural gas provider, our partners at the City of Spokane, Gonzaga University, Washington State University, Spokane, Eastern Washington University, and the community colleges of Spokane. The neighborhood councils in Browns Addition, Riverside, Logan, and Chief Gary Park. The staff at FTA, and especially Region 10 Administrator Linda Gerke. To Spokane Transit employees who are going to drive and maintain the City Line buses, I say thank you. To Governor Inslee, to former Mayor David Condon, and former Mayor Mary Verner, I say thank you. Mark Richard and the Downtown Spokane Partnership, our partners at Greater Spokane Incorporated and the Public Facilities District. The STA Citizen Advisory Committee and the Spokane Regional Transportation Council. Bill Luke, who is the recipient of STA's Lifetime Achievement Award for encouraging me and STA to consider bus rapid transit. Bill is here, an industry professional who will turn 96 next month. Bill, thank you. Thank you to Lars Gilberts and the University District Board of Directors. To Marty Dickinson for her bold vision for downtown Spokane a decade ago that pushed for transit being central to urban mobility. Dr. Thane McCullough from Gonzaga University. Significantly, thank you to the project's executive sponsor, Carl Otterstrom, whose complete devotion to this project will have a lasting impact on our region. And lastly, to the voters, and lastly, thank you to the voters in this region who affirmed transit as an essential public service in a growing region. We are proud to be the Spokane region's transit provider, and we will be honored to bring you the City Line in 2022. Thank you for being with us. We're adjourned.